Situational irony is when the events of a story directly contradicts what the reader expects, right? Careful with your verb agreement, right? It should be when the events contradict what the reader expects. Good. In The Interlopers, two families battle over hunting land, find each other in the woods, get trapped under a tree, then resolve their conflict. In The Interlopers, there is situational irony when we expect George and Ulrich to get help when they cooperate to get out from under the tree, but are eaten by wolves. So yeah, this is kind of a long, stringy type sentence that is a little wavery and awkward. So you want in The Interlopers, there's situational irony. Why don't we say situational irony exists, right? And then because we expect George and Ulrich to get help when they cooperate to get out from under the tree. We don't need the info about the tree down here, right? Why don't we say we expect them to survive through their cooperation, but instead they are eaten by wolves, right? That's what you want. Good. The Interlopers by Saki shows situational irony. In my 3-paragraph essay example, if you look closely, you'll notice that my version of this sentence includes information about where roughly in the story the irony happens. And that's not a bad thing to include in your own, just because it helps to distance it from the thesis, which came right before it. Otherwise, it risks being a bit repetitious. Proof of situational irony is found near the end of the story. Okay, I see what you did there. I would have either this sentence modified or this sentence pretty much unmodified. It's kind of up to you. It seems easier to me to delete something than to edit it. Ulrich and George had just worked together to call for help. And then you want to say, when the text says, you always must have some kind of an intro phrase like that for your quote to let the reader know that we're about to read a direct quote from the story. Who are they? Asked George quickly, straining his eyes to see what the other would gladly not have seen. Wolves. This quote expresses situational irony because the reader expects that they will get help, but instead get eaten. Yeah, I feel like this needs to include some information again about their ironic cooperation, right? But instead, their cooperation leads them to get eaten or be eaten by wolves. Either way, however you want to do it. The Interlopers is a good example of situational irony. The irony helps the reader understand the theme. The theme of The Interlopers is don't let petty competitions blind you of real problems. So do you hear how like simple those 3 sentences kind of stand next to each other? The Interlopers is a good example of situational irony, and then the irony helps the reader understand the theme, and then the theme of The Interlopers is. You can simplify this. I would just say understand the theme, which is don't let petty competitions blind you from real problems. By using the advice, how about this advice, right? By using this advice, people can focus on doing important things rather than what? You need a little bit more to that sentence to really make it so that it's clear that it's kind of relevant to what you're talking about. Alright, Donovan, you've got some comments here. Please make sure you address all the comments, not just the ones that were written. There were several that were just spoken that you should still address. You will be responsible for all of them on your grade. So, if you need to rewatch this video once or twice, please feel free to do so, of course. And if you have any questions about my comments, go ahead and call me over and I'd be happy to explain anything. And otherwise, this is looking pretty good, and I'm looking forward to the final draft.